Hi, everybody. Here are the directions for your last assessment of first semester. This assignment is very similar to last week's assignment. We're going to be using an infobase to research women's suffrage. Right here, we've got what the bar looks like when you get into the infobase. You've got the read aloud. So if you need any passage read to you, you can do that. At the bottom, you'll see a button that says translate in case you speak another language and you want this assignment translated for you. So let's go ahead and get started. The issue this week: should women be given the right to vote, or are voting and involvement in politics best left to men? Now, you need to take the perspective of the turn of the century and what the attitude was at that time. First thing we're going to do is look at a timeline, and I've got that linked here. And I also have it open in my tab. So we're going from 1848 all the way down to 1920. If you go back here to the top, you'll see you've got to read aloud if you want it read to you. And if you choose to do that, I would follow along. If you're just listening, you might not get all the information. Down at the bottom is that translate button where I showed you. So we'll go back to the assignment. Remember, this is day one. So the next thing we'll take a look at is the background information, also linked here. We go here to the main page for women's suffrage, and we click background. It's going to take us right here to a passage that's a few paragraphs long. You're going to read that. It's going to give you some background information on women's suffrage. Go back to the assignment, and then there's a brief video here for you to watch as well. Day one is done, okay? However, if you choose to move on, you can and should. Day two, you're going to be reading the case for women's suffrage. We'll go back to the infobase. We'll click in the table of contents, case 4. Here you go. Then go ahead and read this. You will be summarizing this. Now, this is kind of a longer passage than you were used to last week. So you will still summarize that in 3 to 5 sentences or bulleted points. You get to choose, and you'll type it in here. Remember to have a question for the reading. What was not answered for you? That's the question you would put here. You are being graded on that, so be sure you put it in. Day 3, very similar to day 2. This time you're going to read the case against women's suffrage. And if we go back to the infobase, we just click case against. You'll read this. About the same length, I would say, of reading. You will summarize that or use bulleted points in 3 to 5 sentences. And then write one question you have after reading the case against. Day 4, you're going to read the conclusion. Let's look at the conclusion here. That is called The Birth of the Women's Rights Movement. You'll read that, and it's not as long as the others. And then you will also summarize that in 3 to 5 sentences or bulleted points here. Be sure to write a question about the conclusion here. And then the last day, you're going to do an argumentative right, answering the question: should women be given the right to vote, or are voting and involvement in politics best left to men? What do you believe, and why do you believe it? Explain why you believe one argument is stronger than the other, citing evidence from above in 1 to 3 complete paragraphs below. So when you cite evidence, you want to say where it came from. You might want to put in parentheses after your evidence, case for or case against, whichever passage you got it from. It might even be the conclusion. But I want to know where you're getting your information. And you'll type that down below here. Grading scale is the same as last week, 50 points. If you get everything correct, you got a 4. If you were to miss a day, it drops you right down to a 2.7. If you get anything less than 29 points, that counts as failing. Please remember, this is an assessment, not an assignment, which means this is 50% of your grade. That's why we practiced this last week. You don't want to fail this, okay? So I am going to cut you loose and see you in class. Bye.